And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're located in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue. They're right inside the Dora district, so you can go from bar to bar with your drinks. But no need for that. You can hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall, and they have the DirecTV Sports package. So you can watch all the games. Cincinnati Sports, always on the 9-screen video wall. So go catch the Reds in the hunt for a wild card spot because the Brewers are never going to lose again. So they're going to win the Central, but the Reds can make it in. So go to Hail Mary's. Food trucks on the weekends, sporadically throughout the week. Brand new draft lines, brand new walk-in cooler, and of course, ice cold Cincy Light in a 32.8 degree frosted glass. All right, Aaron. There's really it's interesting. There's so much that happens in the offseason. And then we get a couple weeks from the season and all of the like newsy stuff slows down to a crawl. And we get to kind of go back to talking football, which is nice. You had a chance to attend the scrimmage on Saturday. I've been at all but 2 practices. I had a vet day today. My back, I got out of bed this morning and my back was just like, nah, fam. So I let the young kids take over today, and I literally laid in bed with a heating pad on my back for hours.
You've never sounded so old.
Oh, it was terrible. But I knew, like, if I go do the steps at Nippert twice, like, I'm not walking for a week. That's the old part, Aaron. That's the old part. Like, I could fight. Old me would have had this and fought through it and just been, go get the work done. This version of me was like, if I go up and down those steps a couple times, I might not make it home. I might just be stuck.
There's ways to avoid the steps. You know that.
Not really during practice. Like it's a lot different than game day. It's a lot more open on game day. But either way, I think we're at an interesting point. Keegan did a story today with Luke Paschall. Some of it from interviews we've done, throughout camp. But it's fascinating to me because I know you talk about it a lot. I try to talk about it as much as possible. But how much of a difference do we genuinely think special teams can make this year if they're as good as we think they can be? Because Paschall has been a special teams coordinator and an assistant at a bunch of places where special teams were very, very good. The expectation in bringing him here is to make this special teams unit very, very good. And not just field goals, which Stephen Resnak didn't miss a field goal last year. Not just punting. I'm going to get to some interest. He didn't miss an extra point or a field goal last year. And we've seen him hit from 54, 55 yards on a fairly regular basis in camp. He missed from 57, which I'm never gonna fault a college kicker for missing from 57. But he had the leg. He just pushed it a little left.
Yeah.
And we've seen him hit from 52. We've seen him hit from 54. Like, it feels like they've got a guy that can make field goals.
Right.
Before we get into some of the other stuff, I don't think people realize how good Max Fletcher was at Arkansas.
No, I think you're actually spot on with that assessment.
Did you know he had 23 punts of 50-plus yards when he was at Arkansas?
I knew he had a lot, but I didn't know that number.
23 punts of 50-plus yards while he was at Arkansas. He had 19 punts inside the 20-yard line for the Razorbacks. Like, he is a weapon. And that was just 2023-24, those numbers. He kicked there for 2 years. He got much better in year 2. But as a sophomore, he averaged 47 yards a punt. 47. Like, that is legitimate flip the field every time your punter is back there.
To put that in perspective, the Bengals in this past preseason game, Rico had I think his long was 54, if I'm not mistaken, and he averaged 45 on 5 punts.
Yeah, like legitimately,
so
it is.
If you're averaging 47, you're probably in the league. Is I guess what I'm getting at. Like,
yeah,
he's a dude.
As a sophomore, he was all SEC second team at Arkansas.
SEC is pretty good.
I mean, I don't think people really are giving him I think they understand he's Mason's brother. I think they understand that he's good. I don't think they like we were asked the question in the mailbag yesterday, like, who do you think on this roster could be a first team All-American? Who's the most likely to be a first team All-American? I think the answer is Max Fletcher.
He falls somewhere between great and elite.
Right. And I think if you're looking at returning punters around the country, he's going to be in the top 5, maybe 10, maybe, but probably like top 5 of guys that have actually gone out there and done it. So you're handing Luke Paschall, here's a really good field goal kicker, or a guy that has made a lot of field goals and extra points. And here's potentially the best punter in the Big 12 and one of the best punters in America. Here you go.
And Luke Paschall, by the way, if you've listened to him talk, he seems like a very no-nonsense type of guy. Like,
yeah,
look, I don't care who you think you are. If you are not improving my special teams unit, you will be demoted to the next special teams unit. And if you can't hack it there, then you will just not be back in special teams, and we'll find someone else to come up and do your job. Like, he just does not seem like he's here for any nonsense. He's gone so far. His quote was I think, if you're back there slow blinking, not making good decisions, not helping your teammates, you're not going to be back there. I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how many All-American statues you got. If you're not an elite decision maker, you're not going to be back there, period. Kick return or punt return. Who comes in guns blazing? I'm the new sheriff in town. Like, that's putting it on the table and just saying, this is the new standard, and I love it. Love it.
Here's the thing for me. Those two things are super important. Super important. And the punting is going to be a part of what I'm going to get into next. But the punt return, kick return, punt block, I'll go back to Brian Mason language, punt block, kickoff coverage, in a league that is as tightly bunched as the Big 12. It is imperative that you win those hidden yardage statistics, and all you have to do is look back at last year. They were very good in those categories through the first half of the season, and they were 5-2. They were very bad in those categories at the end of the season, and they were 0-5, including multiple games where it genuinely felt like a screw up on special teams was catastrophic.
Going back the season before that, even. I mean, how much did we do the post-game shows where we're talking about, if this doesn't happen on special teams, you're talking about an entirely different game. And that happened, I feel like we had that conversation 3, 4, 5 times throughout the entire season. That's crazy that you give up a punt return touchdown or a giant massive return and leading to a score, and that's what flipped the game on its entire head.
Or multiple times, guys make a play on a ball as a returner that they have no business touching. No business touching. And they Braden Smith famously jumped up and touched a ball that Yao Ming wouldn't have been able to field. And just give it away. There was one last year. Just touch the ball, no business touching, give it away, and allow the other team great field position. You get a stop. Lord knows for this defense, the past the 2 years ago and then the first half of last year, getting stops wasn't exactly the easiest thing in the world. And you're in a league where offense is the driving factor. You do get a stop, and then you give it back to them on the 12-yard line, the 8-yard line, like whatever it may be. Like that stuff, Aaron, in this league, it crushes you. And they made those crushing mistakes over and over. I don't know how many times, like Mason Fletcher last year on the tackle, that everybody freaked out. Oh, the punter, the Australian rules punter went over and rocked the guy. That was a 40-yard return, 30, 40-yard return.
Shouldn't have even had to make that tackle, right?
Right. I think they're still figuring out. We are the number one gunner podcast in America. I think they're still figuring out who are going to fill those spots. But you know what I'm going to guess, Aaron? I'm going to guess it's guys that we're seeing in the 2 deep on offense and defense and probably not running with the 2s. That's probably going to make people uncomfortable, but it feels like the way Luke Paschall runs the show, he's going to get the best guys out there to do those little jobs that go a long way.
Well, and hopefully that pushes the guys who aren't seeing the field, who aren't getting playing time, to just try and do something better on special teams. I think this is one of those situations where, I know it's cliche. We say it all the time at this point because it was a mantra here it's still a mantra here. Who am I kidding? Iron sharpens iron. But that's exactly what this is. That when you are not getting to see the field, you assume that, all right, at least I can try and make my name in special teams. Well, if you got a guy who's bringing guys up from the 1 and 2 deep on special teams, you're not getting to see those little glimpses on the field that you may have seen. So maybe you're just trying to figure something out, do something different, trying to set yourself apart in those practices. And, again, from what I've seen in the very, very limited time that I've had at practice this year, we're seeing special teams taken very, very seriously. And I don't feel like I had that sense, not to this sense, not to this level.
Not since Mace left.
I was extremely nervous when they were talking about doing special teams by committee. I'm more than happy with the hire that they've made here with Luke Paschall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like, if we don't find the quote unquote home run, then we are going to do it by committee. I do think this guy gives them like a home run type hire at special teams, given his pedigree.
And he's saying and doing at this point all of the right things.
Oh yeah, I mean he's an angry elf out there getting guys where they need to be. Like if you're not motivated by that dude, check your pulse, because he's going to tell you how it is. And I mean, somebody needs to mic him up for a full practice and just listen to the stuff, because we can hear him on the side.
Is he one of those guys that you can do that with, though?
I mean, you're going to need the red button, the easy button. You're going to need that. Yeah, you're going to need the easy button when you're going through that tape. But I don't know. Aaron, I genuinely think it can be the difference in 2 or 3 games. Like there's so many games in this league that if you talk about making an opponent start at their own 10 versus starting at their own 35 or 40 a couple times a game, where you're changing 10, 15, 20 yards of field position regularly, and you're able to keep them pinned, and you're able to get better field position because of it. And then you get a field goal or two out of that because you won field position in tight games. I think it can be the difference in 2 or 3 wins. Maybe I'm crazy, and maybe it won't be the talking point that I think it's going to be, but I think it can be.
This is where you have to be excited about all that depth we've been talking about in the wide receiver room, in the secondary, both at safety and at corner. Yeah, hell, at linebacker even. You have to be excited about how deep they are in those spots and what they can bring to the table in the special teams groups.
Yeah. All right, just a little something different today. We will be back with a big BCJ podcast tomorrow night. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!